Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're doing something a little bit different. There's a website called chat.openai.com and you can ask it anything. You can ask it to write stories, you can ask it random questions, you can ask it for advice. So I asked, write me a 1,000-word novel featuring a cat and a man with a pogo stick. So my idea was really for an old man who had a cat, sweet story, and the old man had a pogo stick rather than a walking stick. So there was a little bit of humour there. So I'm going to read out what this chat AI bot came up with, and we'll have a look. We'll have a. Let me just read it. So here we go. The sun was shining brightly on the small town of Springdale as John made his way down Main Street. He was a tall, lanky man with a long, thin face and a perpetual smile on his lips. He was known throughout the town as the man with the pogo stick, and he could often be seen bouncing down the street, doing tricks and flips with his trusty pogo stick. Today, John was on his way to visit his friend, Mr. Whiskers, the town's resident feline. Mr. Whiskers was a proud and regal cat, with glossy black fur and piercing green eyes. He had a reputation for being aloof and disdainful, but John knew better. Mr. Whiskers was a kind and gentle soul, and he always welcomed John with open paws. As John approached Mr. Whiskers' house, he could hear the soft purring coming from inside. He knocked on the door and waited for a moment, before pushing it open and stepping inside. Mr. Whiskers was lounging on the windowsill, basking in the sun's rays. "Hello, Mr. Whiskers," John said with a smile. "How are you today?" Mr. Whiskers looked up at John, his green eyes flashing. "I am well, thank you," he said in a haughty voice. "But I must say I am quite surprised to see you here. You are not usually one for social visits." John chuckled. I know, he said. "But I thought it might be nice to spend some time with you today. It's such a beautiful day outside, and I figured you might enjoy some company." Mr. Whiskers considered this for a moment before giving a nod of his head. "Very well," he said. "I suppose some company would be nice." John grinned and reached for his pogo stick. "Great," he said. "Let's go for a walk." Mr. Whiskers hopped down from the windowsill and trotted out the door, his tail held high. John followed behind, bouncing on his pogo stick as they made their way down the street. As they walked, they chatted about the town and its residents. Mr. Whiskers told John about the latest gossip, and John filled him in on the latest news from the outside world. They were both content to simply enjoy each other's company, without any need for pretense or formality. Eventually, they made their way to the park, where they found a quiet spot to sit and watch the world go by. John leaned against a tree, his pogo stick resting behind him, while Mr. Whiskers curled up in a patch of sunshine. "This is nice," John said with a contented sigh. "I always forget how peaceful it can be here in Springdale." Mr. Whiskers nodded in agreement. "It's a lovely town," he said, "but I must admit, I do miss the excitement of the city sometimes. There is always so much going on there." John chuckled. "I know what you mean," he said, "but I think I prefer the slower pace of life here. It's just so relaxing." Mr. Whiskers looked up at John, a twinkle in his green eyes. "And yet you are the man with the pogo stick," he said. "You are not exactly known for your calm and sedate nature." John laughed. "That's true," he said. "But even..." And it stops there. Now, I don't know if that's 1,000 words. I presume it is. Now, that's an interesting take on what I had imagined. I mean, it's brilliant, but a couple of points. The AI has made the cat human, in a sense, so the cat can talk. The cat is called Mr. Whiskers, which I guess is, a name that I'm sure someone has probably named their cat. But the biggest thing which surprised me is that the AI gave the cat its own house. But it's an impressive story. I was engaged. It certainly had humour, and there was a little bit of sweetness in there as well. So, yes, that is that. I may do some more of these types of videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for what I should ask this chat OpenAI bot, let me know down in the comments below. Well, there we go. Until next time, take care.